Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of the morning briefing from the Celtic Way. Dear Tony, it's like you're in heaven. Dear, I'm blinded by the lights. How are you?
I'm very well. We kind of are, aren't we, really? Celtic supporters. I don't think they've come down from the ceiling from Saturday. And more to come, hopefully, by the end of, 24th of May. But yeah, the light's kind of shining in my window there. So that explains that. And that's a song, Hamish, Blinded by the Light, but you might not know that.
I was thinking there's Blinding Lights, which is the weekend, which you probably won't know. So we're showing our different ages here.
Yes, I think you two, the song The City of Blinding Lights, and Blinded by the Light was, I think Steve McGrory he'll come in that, but I think it was the Manfred Mann Earth Band. I'm sure. Could be wrong.
So Steve's an expert in music as well as Celtic.
He very much is, but I'm sure it's the Manfred Mann Earth Band. He'll come into the comments and tell me if he's watching already. If not, someone else can confirm that. But yeah, there you go. If people are blinded by the light, I'm sorry, it's just the way the sun is shining in the window.
Yeah, it'll come and go, I'm sure, but we'll manage. Okay, morning everyone. Lovely to have you with us. I'm seeing you all filing in as normal. Thomas and Welsh Paul and McLaughlin P and Dennis Jameson, all the usual names, and a few new ones as well. Lovely to have you with us. Plenty of stuff to chat about today. Before we get started, a quick word from our sponsor. This Celtic Way video is brought to you by S1 Jobs. If it's time to hand in your transfer request, then head over to s1jobs.com and upload your CV today. With thousands of jobs across Glasgow, Edinburgh and the surrounding areas, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. Start your search today, and a big thanks to them for sponsoring this video. We're nearly at the end of whatever month this is now, April. We're nearly into May, and I guess that's good news because May's the month when Celtic can wrap up the treble, and May's probably one of the best months to follow Celtic throughout history. The bad news about us approaching May, everyone, is that you're running out of time to get involved here and take up this smashing offer, £1 for 6 months of access for the Celtic Way. All the amazing work that Tony and John and Ryan and everyone else does on the channel. I know on the website. And you can get all that for 6 months for £1 plus the free Jota print thrown in. And it's a bit of a cracker. But you've only got just over a day. It closes tomorrow evening at midnight, Tony. So they need to get going with this to take up this amazing offer.
Yes. If they thought Jota was a bargain at 7 million, they've got 6,999,999 reasons to pick this up for £1. It is a great bargain. It's a brilliant print. And as Hamish said, access to everything that we do on the website, and we hope you enjoy the content, whether it be the podcasts, the opinion pieces, the big interviews, and the stats bomb stuff that we produce. We put a lot of effort into it. So midnight tomorrow, guys. Thanks to everybody who's taken that subscription up. And if you want that Jota print, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, definitely. Howard Moon asking me how big is the print, Hamish? About that size, Howard. I'm not really sure. I've not got one, and but I'm sure. What? Sorry.
It's an A4 print. If you're familiar with
A4 is just a normal sheet of paper. There you go, Howard. I've seen a few people with the Kyogo one previously, and it's certainly a good size and looks very good. But that's what gets thrown in. But you also get 6 months of access for the amazing work you guys do. Interviews. I know you've done loads of recent interviews. It'll all be on the website. People can check out. You're also doing more in the coming weeks that will be coming out. So yes, get involved, everyone. You've only got until tomorrow. So support us. And get all that amazing content for yourself, as well as the Jota print as well. Tony, how's things? We're champions. I guess it's nothing new, really. I did calculations yesterday for my own channel. I'm not going to bore you all with them, but basically the upshot was Celtic are always champions. We wake up virtually every morning as champions, but it's nice to have it confirmed again.
Yeah, I mean, it is an unprecedented era of dominance, isn't it? It is finally good to get it over the line, as the players and the manager are want to say. But Yeah, it's and they did it in style. They did bust through the tape in style, as the manager said, with a 5-0 win over Dundee United. We spoke about that last Monday, and I think you told me off air. Lots of people got in touch to say thank you because they invested some of their hard on that scoreline. And yeah, it's always great to be the champion, isn't it? As I say, it never loses its appeal for me. If it does lose its appeal for anybody, you're following the wrong sport. It's just always great. And now you look forward to not only the chance to do the treble on May the 24th, but you're looking forward to Sunday now as well, with a bit of relish and a bit of vigour. And hopefully, we say it all the time, hopefully Celtic can actually turn up in this one and play to the way they've been playing, the high standard they've been playing the past couple of weeks.
So you were at the kind of unveiling of the PFA Scotland nominations. I've worded that horrendously, everyone, but you know what I'm getting at. The PFA Scotland announced their nominations yesterday for the various awards. We'll go through them, and you were at the event to launch it as well, speaking to Callum McGregor and Arnie Engels about various things. So we can have a wee chat about what went on there, but just tell us a little bit about how it works and that kind of stuff.
Well, basically, usually it's 4 nominees for every category, for the Player of the Year, the Young Player of the Year, and down the divisions, and the Women's Player of the Year as well. There was 4 nominees for that too, and Emma Lawton of Celtic is nominated for that. But Celtic kind of dominated it. They have Dyson Maeda, Nicholas Kuhn, Callum McGregor, alongside Dundee's Simon Murray, who are the 4 nominees for the PFA Scotland Player of the Year, and Arnie Engels is in the Young Player of the Year category. So Celtic sent along Callum McGregor and Arnie Engels, and they were in good form, and a lot of the attention and the focus was on Sunday's game. Callum McGregor said only in Scotland can you be on the cusp of a treble, but if you potentially lose 3 times to Rangers in the league this season, it'll be classed as a bad season by some people. But he said that kind of outlook would be silly, and Celtic are looking to redress that balance on Sunday, and it does mean a lot to them, and they're trying to turn that narrative on its head. And Arnie Engels was talking about how he's kind of grown up, and he laughed because I mentioned the holiday camp that Brendan Rodgers said. He said, "Oh yes, says it was a funny choice of words." He says, "But I learned to live with that." He says the ultra marathon was new to him, that a game every 3 or 4 days from November to March. So he said he's matured as a player, and he's enjoying his time at Celtic. He said winning the title felt like a drug, and now he wants more. That was his first ever title success, playing professional football. So yeah, and Callum McGregor also said that there's much more to come from Arnie Engels. He's an incredible talent, and he also praised Dyson Maeda and Nicholas Kuhn for their contribution, which he just said they've dug them Celtic out of holes at times with their goals and assists. And he just said Dyson Maeda is something else. He's just an incredible footballer. But yeah, they were both in good form. As you would imagine, when they're talking about clinching the title, and I don't think it ever gets old for Callum McGregor. And because it was new to Arnie Engels, he was still kind of basking in the limelight of that,
There's been so much made of the kind of elder statesman of the squad. And you look at guys like Callum McGregor and obviously James Forrest more than anyone. So much made of these guys who keep going and winning, but it maybe slightly overlooked some of these guys like Arnie Engels, Luke McCowan, Austin Trusty. There'll be others as well who are winning their first league title for Celtic, and that feeling, not just their first league title for Celtic, but for all of those players I mentioned, their first league title of their career. I think Luke McCowan maybe won the championship with Dundee and stuff like that, but winning being the best team in your country and winning your country's top league title is a big thing. So it's huge for these guys, and I think you're going to see. I think the exciting thing about next season is that you're going to see these guys kicking on. I would hope. Arnie Engels, we don't need to go into the whole debate on Engels. He's probably been the most talked about player this season. Because we've spent so much money on him, a lot of people judge him on the price we paid for him, and that may be fair enough. Personally, I judge him on as a young player who's come into a new country and is hopefully going to be better as we go forward. It's been I'd say a pretty good first season. I think he can improve though, and I think we will see that next season. And I think we'll see the same from guys like Luke McCowan as well.
When Callum McGregor telling he's a natural talent and there's much more to come, he plays alongside him and he trains alongside him. I'll take that as gospel, because Callum McGregor's no slouch when it comes to playing football. And as I say, and I think Arne Engels has been quite pleased with his contribution. As you say, he is a young guy. He's still only 21, but he made the point, I don't want to be that young guy because I'm playing professional football. So, it's time to kind of shed that. I'm young. I'm now, I think he kind of realises he's got a handle on now what it's all about. Because I said to him, look, I said, congratulations on winning the title, but it'll be a matter of weeks before you'll have to go and repeat it and do it all again. I said, because that's the culture at this club. You can't just sit back and bask in that and say, great, I won my first title. I says, this time next year, you're going to be sitting here hopefully saying, I won my second title. And his response to me was, not even in a few weeks. He says, we've got the Scottish Cup final to go for, and I was kind of like, yeah, I was meaning next season, but that was his attitude. He was like, this is the next cup I want to get. We're desperate to win the treble. So I quite like that, so I think he's got the memo now. And I think guys like Callum McGregor, who've been beside him, and the likes of Luke McCowan as well, will always go back to that when Luke McCowan made his debut against Rangers for Celtic, and Callum McGregor just that I'll be with you. I just thought that was a brilliant piece of advice, and and so I think Callum McGregor's been largely responsible for guiding these guys through the season. And Arne Engels now, he spoke yesterday like a player who's got a real handle on it and is ready to kick on, Hamish, because I think he's aware as well that people have judged him probably on his price tag and say things about him. And I think he kind of grasps it now. There was a moment on Saturday where Sinizalo threw the ball out, wasn't it, in the lead up to the second goal?
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He had the pass. It probably wasn't talked enough because Celtic were rampant and they were fantastic and scored some cracking goals. But that move was brilliant. As I say, he just sort of spun and he did it naturally. And then Michael's ball into Kuhn was fantastic as well, winger to winger. But that for me wasn't spoken about enough because I think people were just kind of like, well, it's what Engels should be doing, but it's very hard to execute that in the quickness and the speed and the timing of it all. So I looked at that and I thought, brilliant. He is learning. He's learned so much, and he's learned so much from the guy beside him. And I think that was certainly an example of that. And I was pleased to see that because I think that's the Arne Engels we now want to see going forward, bossing games, because he was terrific on Saturday, I thought.
Took the words out of my mouth there. I was going to bring that exact point you just made, that bit of skill that he did against Dundee United, even before the pass, which is he's kind of moving at the time. He's not stationary with the pass. The skill to pull that off on the run almost. And I think I can't quite remember if he spun away from someone before that, but it was a good bit of play before that as well. That's what I want to see him doing more. I think he needs to impact games more next season, and he's clearly capable of it. There's been I think for me, too many times this season that games have passed him by a little bit, and you watch him and he's got real quality and he can run. He can run all game. He's strong. He can tackle. He can pass the ball. There's not really a weakness in his game, and he's got a bit of aggression as well. We've seen it a few times recently. There was one at the weekend where he puts the Dundee United player into the hoardings and helps him up and everything, which was good after. And obviously you're glad that the Dundee United guy's okay, but I don't mind that, a bit of aggression. And there's a few times, I think, in one of the derbies and a few other games recently where he's had run-ins with certain players and I remember him after scoring a few penalties, he's been given the shush to goalkeepers and stuff like that. So he's got a bit about him. He's not just a nice guy. I just want to see him impacting games more. I'm looking at his goal tally here. He scored 10 goals for us. I'm looking through them. I can't quite tell exactly how many of them are penalties. My guess would be maybe 8 or 9 of them have been penalties. So that's obviously great, but we need more from open play. He needs to score more goals for open play as well.
Yeah, and also I want to see him impact Sunday's game big time. Have the same impact that he did on Saturday in a Rangers game. Just for him more than anything, to let him say, right, I can do this. I've got a handle on this. So so I'd like to see him do that on Sunday. Somebody coming in saying it's 9 penalties for Ingles. The only other goal I can remember from open play was the one against Hibs, where the ball came across and he's just kind of clipped it in this season. So it must be 9 penalties then. Yeah, don't have the stats to hand, but yeah, it'll be 8 or 9. That's probably 9 because the Hibs goal's the only one. Yeah, but on that, I mean, talking about Ingles as well, I feel the same way about Adam Ida too, Hamish. Adam Ida will score goals for Celtic. It's all about putting the ball in the right areas for him, which arrived on Saturday. Because his second goal reminded me of his goal against Rangers. See the quick finish? Get out your feet. And low.
I think Ryan made that point yesterday.
Yeah. Because I kind of spoke to John about it on Saturday, and it was a similar type of goal. But that 17 goals from Adam Ida in the minutes that he's had, I think is terrific. And I think it's just serving notice that he'll have to play on Saturday, won't he? Because Jota's clearly injured. Don't know how long he's out for. So I would imagine Adam Ida will play on Sunday, and I quite like that fact, 'cause I think he'll get in about it, and I think he'll pose a different kind of danger to Rangers. So I'm quite happy with that, and he's got form for scoring at Ibrox, so it's nothing new to him. And good luck to him if he does start, which I'm assuming he will. But I was pleased with him as well. So there was lots of things that were pleasing me on Saturday, Hamish, and even the return to form of Kuhn.
Yeah, I do think we're going to see the best, or certainly better, versions of all of these players. And that's not to say that guys like Engels and Ida have been disasters. They've not. But I think we're going to see better versions of them next season. Personally, I think Austin Trusty as well is someone who can come on. I know he's dividing opinion a fair bit at the moment, but I think I've seen positives in him as well. And I think you give all of these guys a pre-season next season and hope they can start the season. We got a lesson this year with Nicholas Kuhn. I mean, this time last year, I didn't think Kuhn was up to it, genuinely. And I know that's daft looking back now, and it's a lesson to me. And I wouldn't have been alone in thinking that, by the way. I remember he came on in the Scottish Cup final and was poor, and I was thinking, he's just not got it. He's not got it to play for Celtic. And then you see how he starts the season. Those goals against Man City were the big moment, and went on to be a superstar for us. Has dipped a bit, but is now hopefully coming again. So great lesson for these guys. John saying Brendan turned Matt O'Reilly into a goal scorer. He will do the same with Arnie. That's a big thing for me. Can you go and do what Matt O'Reilly did, and including your penalties, can you go and score 20 goals next season? And he's capable of it. Engels, he's got all the talent we need.
A DPD guy has just turned up, so my dogs are going a bit ballistic, but there you go. Yeah, I mean, that is the challenge for them all, isn't it? And Kuhn is that example, isn't he? But Kuhn hit the ground running from pre-season onwards, didn't he? Manchester City, everybody was saying, great, he's played really well in the pre-season games. Can he take that for him into the league games? And he did. The first half of the season, he was a shoo-in for that, Player of the Year. And it's probably that for him that's got him on that PFA Scotland shortlist, because obviously his fellow peers and players have remembered that for him. He has dipped, and he dipped badly in recent weeks, but came back into it on Saturday and had a wee message for people, didn't he? With his kind of goal celebration and,
But didn't shy away from it after the game, Tony. That's when he was asked by the media, and you'll have been there. How many times you hear footballers go, nah, you're making that up. I wasn't doing anything. And he said, it's to kind of everyone, really.
It was a kind of And then he also mentioned the point that the team had played really well, but he personally had a good season too. So I don't mind that. The right to reply, he was asked the question and he gave an honest answer. So good on him. And if he is stung by the criticism, then he has to realise that he was being criticised for a reason, because he'd set such a high bar between August and December, January, that he kind of fallen below that, and people were wondering if there was something wrong. And so he's a kind of victim of his own personal success in that first part of the season. And that's again getting back to Arne Engels talking about the culture and winning at Celtic and learning. Kuhn's found that out too, that there's no respite from it at all. You're only as good as your last game. And I keep saying that, Celtic players don't have to just peak once or twice for certain games. They have to peak every time they go out in that park, because they're playing against teams who are trying to peak as well. You keep going and going and going. And McGregor touched on it, that guys like him and James Forrest, they're seasoned veterans at it now. So it's that experience and knowledge and wisdom that they can impart alongside the manager. And if they take it on board, they'll be fine. They'll get there, and they will produce every other week. So I think Kuhn, like Engels, might have been surprised by the whole ultra marathon bit from November to March, and maybe that's why. But certainly made his point on Saturday, because he looked like a more hungrier player and just somebody that had a wee bit of a point to prove, didn't he? And as much as his 2 goals were, he made them look really simple, but they were difficult finishes, both of them.
Mm.
But he made it
I think that.
You want to go?
Yeah, I think this season, as you say, might have been a real kind of positive one for guys like Kuhn and Engels in learning the really important lesson that when you're at Celtic, you have to perform week after week, and it doesn't matter. I mean, everyone was praising Kuhn so much at the start of the season, and then he did dip for a bit, and people are suddenly critical, and some of it was probably over the top. But and I have no doubt there's part of Kuhn. You can probably see that at the weekend, the way he celebrated, and also what he said after the game. I have no doubt there's a good part of him that thinks it's a bit ridiculous, some of the criticism he's been getting, and probably has a bit of a chip in his shoulder with it. But that's what happens when you play for Celtic. So hopefully, he learns from that, and next season we get a full season of Kuhn if he's here.
That's what McGregor was saying. It's the ridiculousness and the silliness sometimes of the optics in Glasgow. Celtic have won the title, and they could lose 3 league games to Rangers this season. I'm not saying they're going to go to Ibrox and lose. The players are determined to go there and win. But people will still question whether they're the best team in the country if they do lose. And it is a nonsense, because they've won the title. They are the best team. It's not based over the games against Rangers. It's based over a whole season, a 38-game season. But I think in terms of optics, Sunday's more important to Celtic than it is to Rangers. I know the games are always important, but for me personally,
I agree.
I think that Sunday is more important to Celtic, because if you have a 2-2 split in the league games, then you just say, right, we'll reconvene next season. And, you say Rangers, fair enough, you've peaked for a couple of Celtic games, and the League Cup final, we played very well too. So,
but we won.
Yeah, but
Celtic, it'd be 3-2, wouldn't it, in the 5 derbies if we win on Sunday?
So it's, you can look at it whatever way, but I just think in terms of the optics, a 3-1 split in terms of the league games, where Rangers are 1-3 and Celtic 1-1, it doesn't look particularly great. So, and I think that's seeping into the manager and the players, because they're all determined. And it's all right saying these things, because they said it before the last game about stealing the game plan and all that kind of stuff. And again, Rangers got off to a cracking start against them. So, again, you say that Celtic have to go and perform. These guys have to realise that they've got a duty to perform every time, regardless if they've won the title. They have a duty to, and they have a duty to perform as well, because there'll be a section of Celtic fans inside Ibrox on Sunday.
Yeah, 2,000.
Giving them their backing. So they've got a duty to perform for those guys as well as every Celtic supporter, but the people especially that are turning up to Ibrox to cheer them on, and cheer them on as champions. Show why you're the champions, and go and perform at the home of your rivals. No better place to do that.
I mean, I feel like for the last couple of derbies, the league ones, we've been saying the same things going into them. We've been saying, right, we know we've got better players than Rangers. There's no doubt about that. I don't think even many Rangers fans would argue with that. Maybe they would, but like, while we show it on the day, and we haven't over the past two derbies, and I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. I'll be honest. It's hard to tell. Does it feel different this time? Does it feel? I mean, you were chatting to Callum McGregor in particular yesterday. Does it feel like we're actually going to get a response in one of these games this weekend?
Well, they're talking the talk, Hamish. You know, both players yesterday they're very mindful of what the optics look like, and I think it's one of them. They don't want to say too much, you know, because we've witnessed over the past two derbies, Rangers, for whatever reason, have been up for them big time, and this is all that Rangers have left to play for this season. So you bet your bottom dollar they'll be trying to skew that narrative of winning 3 league derbies to Celtic's 1, and then saying what they will about it, saying that, well, you know, there's a question mark over whether you're the best team or not. Nonsense, of course, as Callum McGregor said, but I think Celtic and the Celtic players and the manager know they owe the supporters, know themselves, a performance in this game, to be honest, because the last two have been pretty unacceptable, haven't they?
Yeah.
The second
3 halves.
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 halves. Yeah.
You know, so, and I think they're, as I say, it's uppermost in their minds. I don't think they want to come away with anything outrageous, but I think you'll see a different Celtic on Sunday, and also just the way they've been playing recently. I think they've clearly been set the target. Can you go and win the remaining games? And that includes going to Ibrox and winning and putting on a show. And I think that's certainly what they'll be trying to do on Sunday, because I think the manager's upped by it as well. You know, he'd lost 1 derby, hadn't he, that statistic, and then it's risen to 3. So I think enough's enough for him, isn't it? I think he'll be like, right, come on, let's go and do something about that. So we'll see what happens.
I think the last one was pretty bruising on the pitch, but we also kind of, and it's a strange thing to say when you're so far clear of them in the league, but we kind of took a bit of a slagging off the pitch as well with the various things we know that happened at the game and things that were said after the game by you know, certain Rangers players and you know, actions off the pitch during the game. And you hope that, I mean, to be honest, as a fan, I do really feel it for this weekend, and I really want the team to go and show, despite us already being champions. It doesn't feel maybe like a couple of years ago where we'd just won the league at Tynecastle and we're going into a derby, and yeah, we were kind of hyping ourselves up, but the reality was, if we lost that game, it didn't massively matter. Obviously, derbies all matter to an extent. This one, to me, does feel pretty meaningful, even though it's not going to affect, you know, the league title at all. And my big hope is that I hope the players understand that. I hope they all feel that. I hope this week, you know, they're getting hyped up for this game and they've got it in your minds. You know, this mob kind of ripped you a bit last time, and your fans had to put up with it. For as good as we have been this season, we've not been good enough in the last derby, and we weren't good enough last time we went to Ibrox. So let's go and do this. I really hope there's not any notion in that squad of, we've done the hard bit and won the league. I really hope this is the big one this weekend, even more so probably than Saturday there against Dundee United. And Rangers are an interesting one. To be honest, I've not really watched Rangers at all recently. Looking at the results, it seems like domestically they've kind of chucked it a bit, but it felt like that prior to the last one at Ibrox. Their domestic form wasn't great. I think they'd drawn 3 in a row or whatever going into that, and they beat us comprehensively. So you really don't know what's going to happen. It's for me, it's kind of on a bit of a knife edge this weekend. But if we turn up and don't get affected by the atmosphere like we did last time, and it will be different now, we've got a couple of thousand fans in, I think that'll make a big difference in player stuff and you know, calm down and not get flustered. the quality should shine through because we do have better players than them. But it's up to the team to show us that.
It's not a dead rubber for me, Hamish. As I say, this means more to Celtic than Rangers. And you have to say, in the past couple, Rangers have been ready for you. Reverse that narrative. Be ready for them. And they'll have home advantage. As I say, this is their last hurrah for the season. Because after Sunday's match, season will peter out for Rangers, won't it? Because there's nothing much at stake. But it's true.
They've not got a cup final, do they? No,
not that I'm aware of. So, of course they're going to try and, do what they did the last time. So again, I think the players do understand that. Reading between the lines with Darnley Engels and Callum McGregor talking yesterday, I think I wouldn't say they were stung by the last two, but I think they were hurt a wee bit.
Yeah,
and I think there's I hate using things like scores to settle, but Darnley Engels did mention the word revenge. I'm not a big lover of that, but I think it's uppermost in their minds that they really do want to go and perform and show exactly why they're the best team in the country. And as I say, there's no better stage to do that than Sunday.
Someone was asking about the referee, and I just remembered there that they announced the referee around about this time on a Tuesday morning for the weekend. So referee for Sunday is Nick Walsh, assisted by Frank Connor and Dougie Potter. Andrew Dallas is on VAR. Andrew McWilliam on assistant VAR. So Nick Walsh in charge of Sunday's derby at Ibrox, and I think we'll leave it there. Tony, will catch up with you pretty soon. I've just chucked that grenade in there. I could have said any referee's name and I get the same reaction. So there's not a single referee I could have said and everyone would have gone, yeah, that's all right. Good on him. So we'll leave that there and we'll return this time tomorrow. Plenty more on the website. Remember, everyone, just a final shout out. You've only got just over a day to get involved with this. It's an incredible offer, £1 for 6 months of access for the Celtic Way. If that's not enough, and I don't know why it wouldn't be enough, but if it's not, you also get a free Jota print from renowned football artist made by Frankie thrown in as well. Tony, thank you. We'll catch up with you soon. Cheers, everyone. Speak to you tomorrow.